hit like, and subscribe. You're watching the Marc Lamont Hill official YouTube channel.
Peace, family. This is your brother, Marc Lamont Hill. It is Friday night going into Saturday morning, and it is time for a special, is that right? Special edition of Night School. That's right, y'all. Night School every night, or Monday and Wednesday night here on the Marc Lamont Hill official YouTube channel. We hold Night School. We break down the most controversial topics, the most engaging debates, the most interesting subjects going on in the world today. And tonight is a little bit different, not because we're having a different scope, but because we are doing it on a night we don't normally do it. And the reason we're doing that is because I wanted to give y'all a little bit more. I want to have just a little bit more conversation with you all, family. I wanted to engage you all as much as possible in these days and times. But tonight I'm not going to go too heavy. We're not going to talk about the heavier fare going on in the world today, although we'll be doing that all weekend. We got office hours episodes coming up. We got some commentaries coming up both here and on the Patreon page. It makes you sign up for Patreon. But tonight I want to just cover a couple of stories that I didn't want to have drop to Monday, because I think they're interesting and important, even if they're not political. And so we're going to do it. Oh boy, I don't even know what y'all talking about, man. But shout out to everybody who's watching right now. I see people watching on Twitter. I see people watching on YouTube. Hopefully you all are able to engage everywhere. Shout out to Leslie Young, one of our members of the YouTube channel, and somebody who has been supporting for a long time. And I'm a little sloppy looking, man. It's all good. It's late. I'm tired. But like I said, I want to give you all as much conversation, as much analysis as I possibly can. So that's all it is. That's all it is. Where do we start? Where do we start? By the way, actually, before I even get into the topics that I wanted to talk about, a couple of amazing episodes of Joe Budden podcast are out right now. We covered that this earlier this week, sort of some of the directions we were going to go in. But today was a great episode. It should be out tomorrow morning. I don't know the time, but tomorrow morning it should be out, and it's a good one. It's a good one. That's the squad right there, man. We had a great time. Covered a bunch of great topics and had some amazing conversation, more so even than we normally do, and we always have a great time and a great conversation. So make sure you check that out. Shout out to you, Garciazi. Appreciate you, man. And write in with your city, write in your state, country, wherever you writing in from, wherever you watching from. Drop that in the comments. I'll shout you out. I was sort of waiting a second before some folk came in to get at this, but let's get to it. Like I said, we here for a good time, not a long time. Is Gayle King out at CBS? That is a crazy sentence, by the way, right? If you would have asked me yesterday, forget last week, forget just yesterday, I would have given you a very, 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 very different answer. But according to reports, multiple reports, Gayle King might be out, if not at CBS, certainly at CBS Mornings, where she has been the anchor, an extraordinary anchor for more than a decade at the network and at the news program. According to several sources, she will be stepping down at the end of the term of her current contract, which is up in May of 2026. That was initially reported by Variety. But they're saying that Gayle might not be completely gone from the network. She just may be gone from the morning show, and that she may be taking on a new role. Now, if you don't know, and if you're not in the media game, you might not know, Paramount, the parent company, merged with Skydance Media. It was an $8.4 billion with a B dollar merger, which has radically changed how things go. Now, I don't want y'all to think that this is necessarily a bad thing. It could be her moving on to the next level. It could be her producing her own content, similar to what Norah O'Donnell did over there, where she used to anchor CBS Evening News, and then She stepped down and now she's a senior correspondent for CBS, which means she does whatever the hell she wants. It's actually a quite a swanky job. Sometimes people like Gayle, who are talented and who have earned it, get that kind of treatment. Unfortunately, sometimes, particularly us, don't get that kind of treatment. So after 13 years, you hope that Gayle has earned that after putting uh, the network, not the network, but putting the morning show back on the map, making it a competitor, not GMA level, not Today Show level, but in terms of ratings, but killing it. And honestly, the most serious and thoughtful and smart of all the morning shows. I love what Gayle does, and I think that you all should too. Um, if you remember when she signed on, it was Norah O'Donnell, it was Anthony Mason, but it was also Charlie Rose. Um, an excellent team of journalists, but there were some scandals, there were some problems, and she helped steady the ship. She kept things level, she kept the credibility, she has kept the gravitas of the show, and she's done some amazing things. She sat down with presidents, she sat down with celebrities. Remember that Barack Obama interview, the Michelle Obama interview, or of course the R. Kelly interview, which is like iconic for how she handled him. This is absolutely fascinating to think that someone as eminent as her is even part of this conversation. Now, again, it could be a bad thing, could be an amazing thing, but usually when networks do these kinds of things and have these types of arrangements, it ain't for the benefit of the talent; it's for the benefit of the network. Now, because there's been a day of speculation regarding this, CBS had to say something. They didn't want to say nothing, but they had to say something. And here's what they said: They said there have been no discussions with Gayle about her contract that runs through May 2026. She's a truly valued part of CBS, and we look forward to engaging with her about the future. Now, some of y'all might say, "Oh, that's them making it clear. That's them fixing it." Ah, that doesn't fix it, y'all. If you know media speak and you know the media game, then you know that that actually doesn't fix things. Again, let me read back what they said. There are no discussions with Gayle about her contract. That might be true. Maybe there is no kind of discussion with Gayle about her contract. That doesn't mean her contract's not being discussed. It doesn't mean that her job's not being discussed. It just means it's not being discussed with her. In other words, when you read this, you got to say, what would it mean for every bit of this to be true and it still be a problem? There have been no discussions with Gayle about her contract that runs through May 2026. That might be true. They're also reminding us that May 2026, so they say, look, she's not going anywhere. But if you know TV, you know that May 2026 is very, 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 very close. We're talking about 7 months from now. Usually in the last 6 months, you have intense negotiations for the re-up. With some bigger deals, it's a year or 2 years out. For some people, it's only 3 months. It just depends on where you are in your deal. Gale's pretty big, as big as they come. So it wouldn't shock me if this is exactly when they would be discussing her contract. And if they haven't had discussions about her contract, that could also be concerning. Again, I'm not worried about Gayle or for Gayle. Gayle is successful. She's financially solid, I presume. I don't know her business, but I presume she is. She's widely respected. If Gayle wants to do this career until she's 150, she can. So I'm not worried about her, but I'm worried about what this means. I'll tell you why in a second. They say she's truly a valued part of CBS. Again, could be true. No one's doubting that. And we look forward to engaging with her about the future. Saying we value you and we want to talk about the future doesn't mean they're not letting you go. It doesn't mean they're not declining to renew your contract. It doesn't mean they're not going to make you a bad offer. Or it doesn't mean they're not going to relocate you to somewhere that you don't want to be. All of these things are possible. So please, when you hear that that statement, don't read too much into it, but don't read too little into it. And again, this isn't about Gayle. There's a bigger issue here, right? Which is that Paramount is overhauling the entire news organization. They're doing it to think about money. They're doing it to think about what do you call it? Efficiency and profitability. But it's also a conversation about how the news game has changed, how the news game is changing. It's about how the news game is changing. People don't watch linear TV like they used to. People get their news from the internet. They get their news from social media. So it's not even like 10 years ago when they'd go to CBS.com and get the news. No, now they're scrolling up and down and they're trying to get 10-second, 30-second sound bites. Does it make sense to invest in these expensive, incredibly talented, but expensive anchors? That's what they're thinking. Um, is linear TV dying? Is everybody how can I put is everybody unplugging or ignoring the television because the new generation doesn't turn on the TV? I mean, there's a generation of people for whom the TV is just something you do when you want to watch Netflix with a bigger screen, or it's something you do when there's a major news crisis and disaster, which is why you keep news outlets, but you don't necessarily need the daily news show. These are the thoughts that networks have. They want to spend money and they want to redirect people. So this is part of the issue. Now, for me, that's a crisis because Gayle King is one of the few sober, smart, thoughtful news anchors left on mainstream TV. So if she ain't doing it right, according to CBS, then who is? And if they're saying, well, she's doing it right, but it's not profitable enough, then you got no hope. So this is very disturbing, very concerning for me. And CBS's damage control does nothing to make me feel better about what's happening. I don't know, y'all. Drop your comments in the meantime, let me just shout out a few people. We're going to move on to this Diddy story. Somebody said you got a fresh cut. I didn't, man. No fresh cut. I got this cut earlier in the week. Uptown, only a Philly. I love Philly. Indianapolis, Indiana, Professor X. More Philly folks. Somebody from Flint. Shout out to you. Mahogany Spirit coming in from California. In Theory's coming in. From Jersey, said I'm mad. I'm around the corner from Diddy's prison. You near Fort Dix, okay? Althea Hill, Philadelphia. La Palma is where Chris S is from. Camden, New Jersey. East Philly is where Soul Life is from. Rochester's in the building as well. CBS's Fox News now. My past joint pods. I don't know if it's that bad, but a lot of things going on. People writing in from the UK. Salam from the UK. I hope she lands by doing her own independent thing. She may. Another thing to think about when you talk about Gayle King, just to tie up the Gayle King thing. One of the things when you talk about Gayle King is that she's 70 years old and incredibly young in spirit, heart, health, from what I know. She could certainly do another 10, 20 years on air if she wanted to, maybe 50 years, right? Who knows? But she may not want to do anything else. She may also want to say, I want to enjoy the rest of my life. I want to enjoy my wonderful child, my wonderful grandchild. These are things that you might want to do. So think about it that way as well. Anyway, I love Gayle, and I think she's wonderful, and I hope that she is incredibly successful in whatever she does. I also hope that these news outlets, these major corporate news outlets, lose some of their stranglehold on the public narrative and the public discourse. I hope that as CBS reimagines itself and reorganizes itself, that CBS also divest a little bit from the news game so that other institutions, and not other corporate news outlets, but other people, everyday people, grassroots organizations, citizen media can take a bigger slice of the pie. Anyway, let's get on to this Diddy story, because I know some of y'all came on here not to talk about Gayle King and corporate media, but the Diddy business of the day. So earlier this week, Diddy got a release date, May 8th, 2028. Now, for some people, again, that would seem really, really far. For other people, that didn't seem have bad, in terms of a sizable punishment for him. It just depends on how you see it. I'm not here to litigate that again. I'll tell you what. Actually, I will litigate that a little bit. But Diddy arrived at Fort Dix prison a couple days ago, which is about 34 miles from Philadelphia. So he's in southern Jersey. Some other celebrities have been there before. I believe that's where John Forte was as well. Uh, he was in the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn. Uh, but they moved him after over a year there, and it'll be interesting to see sort of what that all means. Now, Fort Dix is an interesting place because it has a lot of programs. First of all, there's different security levels, but it also has residential drug treatment. And this is something that his lawyer, Tony Garagos, wanted for him, right? He said he wanted Diddy to, quote, address drug abuse issues and to maximize family visitation and rehabilitative efforts. Their angle was he's an addict, he's in trouble, he needs help, put him in minimum or medium security and go for it. Now, again, Diddy has served 14 months already. He has a 50-month sentence. That means he has 36 months left, or basically 3 years. But you can get reductions in your time through substance abuse programs, diversionary programs, etc. Now, this isn't clickbait. I want to talk about the actual early. That's not the early release I'm talking about. He got a relatively mild sentence. In some people's minds, he got a relatively stiff sentence. In other people's minds, that ain't what I'm talking about right now. Earlier this week, Diddy's lawyers made an attempt to get the conviction entirely overturned. They wanted to see if he could get the conviction reversed or overturned. They wanted them to consider whether or not this was even a legal conviction. And they asked for a speedy process for that to happen. They filed papers with the Second U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals on Wednesday to see if that could happen. They want to get this boy out. And that's what the lawyers are paid to do. I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad at the lawyers for doing their job. Everyone deserves a zealous defense, whether you think people are good, bad, evil, wonderful, whatever. You deserve a zealous defense. Your lawyer should be able to do something. Now, Diddy, for his part, is to get out faster, is doing a bunch of stuff, right? He's been participating in prison programs. He wrote a letter to the judge saying he's doing a spiritual reset. And he said he was, quote, committed to the journey of remaining drug-free and a nonviolent and peaceful person. His lawyers are advocating, saying that he lost all his businesses, his jobs, his employees, all because of these drugs. And the conviction that came subsequent to it, right? So they're trying to do the empathy play. They're doing the sympathy play. They're doing the drug play. They're doing all the things you do when you want to get out, but that's not all. They're drawing the line, and that's not why I think that he could get out early. His own attorneys have said very publicly that they think he's going to be out very, very soon. They didn't say specifically why or how. They had to be vague. But it seems like they seem to be how can I describe it? They seem oddly confident that he's going to be okay. They seem oddly confident that he is going to be released soon. Maybe they know something that we don't. Now, it could be that they believe in the strength of their legal case. It could be that they believe in the power of their argumentation, but I don't think that's it. No lawyer is that confident from that. There's something else. There's something else. They got Donald Trump in the back pocket. They got Donald Trump in the back pocket. Now, when I say in the back pocket, I don't mean Donald Trump's down to do what they want him to do. What I mean is that's their ace in the hole. That's their big play. They do feel like Donald Trump is possible. Again, they feel, and to be clear, what I mean by that is they believe that Donald Trump will commute his sentence under the right set of circumstances. And I think they got good reason to think that. Donald Trump doesn't have morals. Donald Trump doesn't have values. Donald Trump is a businessman, and he thinks about strategy and tactics and what's best for Donald Trump. So is it possible that Donald Trump would give Diddy an early release? Yes. Now, Donald Trump in the summer said that he wasn't really trying to rock with Diddy because Diddy wasn't very nice to him, basically saying Diddy was critical of Donald Trump in his campaign and his candidacy. Now, Diddy did that, of course, before he knew he was going to be in prison, and Donald Trump would be the person who could get him out. And so Donald Trump said that very explicitly that Diddy's treatment of him, such fascinating language, um, um, that it would affect, and this is fascinating, that it would affect his decision about whether to even look at a pardon for him. He said, so the idea of a pardon and a commutation is that something unjust has happened. And what president says, well, yeah, there might be an injustice here, but I'm not going to look at it because I don't like how you treated me. That's some Donald Trump shit to say. Now, again, I don't think an injustice has happened with Diddy. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, but that would be the argument. That said, um, Donald Trump said that, and it kind of leaked that his team was going to be reviewing Diddy's case last week. And of course, the White House said, in their own cagey way, there's no evidence of that. That's not happening. We never said that. That's bad. Fake news. They didn't say fake news, but that's what they meant. Fake news. Um, um, this is challenging to think about a potential solution if you're Trump. Trump wants power, he wants money, he wants influence. He also loves revenge. He would be getting revenge against Diddy by not commuting his sentence. But what could he get by giving him a commutation? Well, there's a few things. One, whatever backdoor deal they make, I won't get into that because that ain't my business. I don't know. I don't have any information about that. I don't have any sources on that. So I don't want to speculate. But what I do know is that if Donald Trump intends to violate the Constitution or change the Constitution to run for a third term, or more likely he continues to be a kingmaker and wants JD Vance to be the next person, but he wants to run this empire from a distance on some Putin shit. Remember that one moment where Putin wasn't technically president but still ran things? That's what I'm talking about. Then he's going to need black votes. He's going to need black support, and there's a whole lot of black people, especially black men, who would love to see Diddy come home early for a variety of reasons. And we could talk about the problematic nature of that, but it's a fact. So Donald Trump will be doing it to win influence among black folk. Now, there's a sector of black women who, in particular, would not be happy with that, but black women don't vote for Donald Trump anyway. So again, Donald Trump is brass tacks. He's practical. And yeah, people will be pissed for 3 days, some people, but Donald Trump also doesn't care. He just doesn't give a damn. So Donald Trump commuting Diddy would be unpopular to some, but he doesn't care about being unpopular. So then the thing is, what would stop Donald Trump from commuting Diddy's sentence, and what would make him do it? What would make him do it is an excellent deal. So whatever's going on between Diddy's lawyers and his team and Donald Trump, that would be the answer. Whatever that is, whatever that thing is, that would be the thing that would get him where you want to be. It could be money. It could be going on tour or going on the road wearing MAGA hats and saying I'm down with Trump. It could be I got it all wrong before when I said Trump wasn't shit. Turns out Trump is amazing. It could be the Lil Wayne thing where you take some photos with the thumbs up and keep it pushing, the Kodak Black thing. It could be lots of approaches to how to manage Trump in the midst of a crisis. But please believe that Diddy getting out early is not a huge stretch. Please believe that it's not a wild conspiracy theory or hypothetical. It could very well happen. There's a couple comments about it here that I want to be very clear about. I saw one that really sort of made me feel the need to respond. It was this one from Endo 2383, who said Mark wants Diddy out so bad. I don't. I mean, as an abolitionist, I don't believe that the prison should be how we resolve our social contradictions and injustices and inequalities. On the whole, I don't think we can arrest our way out of problems and police our way out of problems. But if we're talking about Diddy in particular, I'm not rooting for Diddy. I'm rooting for all human beings to be as whole and healthy as they can, but I don't have any investment in Diddy getting out. I don't think Diddy was mistreated. I don't think Diddy is in the. In fact, I thought Diddy was guilty of more things than he was found guilty of, to be perfectly frank. So I'm not rooting against Diddy, but I'm also not. I'm sorry, I'm not rooting for Diddy in the sense of like, go Diddy, I support you, I got your back, but I'm also not rooting against him, right? I think I said that backwards again. Anyway, I'm not rooting against him, right? I'm not like lock him up for 10 years because I also don't believe in excessive sentencing. I don't. There's people who said Diddy should have gotten 10 or 20 years. or if he had been convicted of more things, he should have been in there for life. I don't think that's the answer. I don't even think that would create wholeness for the victims, much less for Diddy, right? So I, that ain't the answer. But I'm also not out here like, you know, let him out. He's innocent. Diddy did a lot of harm, and I hope that he's able to um, find a way to heal and to restore the people he harmed back to wholeness. That's what I hope. But no, I'm not a Diddy stan. I need to be clear about that. And I don't think I've ever suggested that. The most thing I've ever said with regard to Diddy that seemed to bother some of you um, was that I don't think he should have gotten the biggest sentence ever. I just don't think a prostitution conviction warrants 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. I just that doesn't make sense to me. Um, and as awful as the things that he did were in my mind, he wasn't convicted of most of them. And you can't punish people for things they weren't convicted of. Then otherwise the criminal legal system doesn't work. And that's why we have a criminal legal system right now that's so profoundly perverse. Anyway, so that's it. Those are my thoughts. If y'all want to keep talking, we can. We're gonna head over to Patreon though. But in the meantime, I want to thank y'all for watching. I appreciated talking to y'all. It was nice to talk to y'all on a Friday night. We got to do this more often. We really got to do this more often, man. I really, really, really appreciate rapping to y'all. I really, really, really want to talk to y'all more. So we can head over to after class. Night school is right here. And then over on Patreon, we go after class. And then just follow me over on Patreon. If you don't follow me on Patreon already, if you're not a Patreon subscriber, you can go to patreon.com/Marc Lamont Hill official, or you can just scan the QR code that's right there on your screen, and it will take you to my Patreon. And to be clear, we do Patreon for two reasons. One, of course, is to give you extra content, to give you extended conversation. We're about to do a live question and answer with me over on the Patreon right now. And that's part of it. You get extended content, you get early content, you get extra content. We do all of that because it needs to be done. But the other reason why we do Patreon is to keep night school going. When you watch night school, when you get the public education, the global classroom that we do here on YouTube, it's free to the public. We don't charge a thing. And I want to keep it that way. But please understand that it costs time, energy, labor, man and woman power to make this thing happen. And if you want me to remain independent, unbought, unbossed, mainstream media has to be challenged. And the only mainstream can be challenged is if we have grassroots and non-corporate alternatives, and we can't do that without your support and your help. So please, if you want to keep this program going, if you want to help support what we're doing, again, go over to the QR code up there. My pointing skills are off. You see, I'm trying to learn how to point to the thing. Yeah, you go. Go there, or just go to patreon.com/Marc Lamont Hill official and join. We love and appreciate the support. If you can't do that, on the Patreon side of things, we'll always be here on Night School, and it won't cost you a thing. But again, please, 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 have a great night. Either way, I hope you enjoyed your Halloween, and I will see you soon. Peace.